StraightallDay.com.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is stop trying to hit home runs every day. Yes, stop trying to hit home runs every day. I'll explain where this topic comes from and why we're talking about it in a moment. But first of all, let me tell you about it. I have a daily motivation text that I send out free of charge every single day to everyone who is in my text community. This message is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. If you would like to receive that message, and I know you do, all you got to do is text me at my number right now to let me know you want it. My number is 305-384-6894. When I get that message from you, you'll be in my community, and tomorrow when I send out the daily motivation, because you're in my community, you'll be getting that text. The good news is you can even respond to any one of those texts, and you may even get a response from me because I go through those messages every day and respond to my responses. So hit me at that number. It is listed down below in the show notes. And while you are tapping on your phone, make sure you go to workonyourgame.net and you want to save, or not save, but go to that link and you want to sign up for a 24-hour access pass to my free training, how to get to the next level financially in your business without running yourself into the ground. Go to that page and I will tell you exactly everything you're going to get inside that training. Is a 45-minute training free of charge, but once you get in, you got 24 hours to take in the entire training. So go to workonyourgame.net, sign up, and get access to that training. That link is down below as well. Now, this topic of stop trying to hit home runs every day is something that I have explained to lots of people, from some of my coaching clients. I've explained this to a lot of athletes, to everyone in between when it comes to creating success. It's become a bigger issue since the advent of social media, and we're going to dive into all of that here today, and I'll explain why social media has actually made this more of a challenge for more people and why this message matters even more than it ever has today. So let's get right into it without me giving more intro, because I'll cover everything in my points. The topic, once again, is stop trying to hit home runs every day. Point number one. In his book, which is called, I believe it's called Open, a tennis player or former tennis player by the name of Andre Agassi, he told the story of how there was a point in his career when it was clear that he was a very talented player and he had the potential to be one of the best players in the world, but at that time he wasn't performing like one of the best players in the world. So he hired a coach, and the coach that he got with, because he had worked with a lot of coaches over the years, but this coach that he got with helped Andre with the challenge of what he was doing was committing, in what they call in tennis, a whole bunch of unforced errors, which is basically he was hitting the ball into the net or hitting the ball outside of the lines for no reason. It's not because his opponent had set him up with a very tough shot. It was a really basic, the ball was coming to him in a very basic, easy to handle position, but Andre was committing these errors for no reason. They call them unforced errors in tennis. And you pretty much, in tennis, you want to limit the number of unforced errors you make. And often when a player loses a match in tennis, is often because they've committed a whole bunch of unforced errors. It's not because the other player was just out-talented them. No, it's just because the player who lost committed a whole bunch of errors that they didn't need to commit, basically making mistakes that they didn't need to commit, basically due to sometimes a lack of focus, or who knows, whatever other things could be going on in the head of an athlete in the middle of a match. The problem was, according to Andre's coach, who diagnosed the issue, is that Andre was trying too often to hit what they call winners in tennis. A winner in tennis is like when somebody hits just this wild shot so it's inbounds, but it's out of the reach of the opponent, or it's tough for the opponent to return it, or the opponent hits it, but then it goes into the net or it goes out of bounds. But that's not an unforced error. It's kind of a forced error, because like I set you up with such a tough return shot that you can't keep it in bounds. So that's not an unforced error. That's a forced error. So we call that's a winner for me. It's not an error by you. It's just I set you up to mess up because I just made a good play. Andre was trying to do that on every shot. He was trying to set his opponent up for a forced error. And while trying to do that, trying to force forced errors, he was committing unforced errors on his own, because he was trying too hard to create basically highlight reel plays, and he was messing up because he was trying to do it too often. This is all according to what his coach diagnosed as his actual issue. So what Andre's coach trained him to do was, look, stop trying to hit winners every time. Stop trying to get highlights every time. Sometimes, Andre, all you got to do is just keep the ball in play and just hit the ball over the damn net. Just hit the ball over the net. All right, don't try to make a highlight play. Just hit it over the net and just keep the ball in play, because eventually, Andre, according to his coach, your opponent's going to make a mistake, and you can capitalize on the mistake. You don't have to try to force a mistake out of your opponent. Just wait for them to make one, because eventually they're going to make one. And if we just go talent for talent, skill for skill, you are more skilled than your opponent. Most of the opponents that you face, you're more skilled than them. So you don't have to try to make them make a mistake. Just wait for them to make a mistake. They will make one before you do, because you're a better player than them. And that was what his coach explained to him. And when Andre, when he internalized that and started playing off of that, he actually started winning more. So his coach was actually right. Same thing happens in boxing or any kind of combat sport, that you don't want to go into a boxing match trying to throw knockout punches every time you swing, because if every time you try to throw one of those haymakers, first of all, you might miss. And if you're fighting somebody who knows how to box, you probably will miss a lot of those shots. And secondly, every time you throw one of those punches, you're opening yourself up to get counterpunched, because you're throwing a really big punch and you can't defend yourself when you're throwing one of those haymakers, which means you might get yourself knocked out. So a wise boxer knows that, yeah, there are times to try to throw the knockout punch, but not every time. Sometimes you just got to keep your opponent at bay, and you got to wait for your opportunity to throw the knockout punch. But the opportunity is not going to be every single time that you throw a punch. This is what the disciplined person understands. Point number 2. Today's topic again is stop trying to hit home runs every day. What this means for you is that sometimes you need to just hit a single and be happy about it. I tell this to coaching clients of mine all the time. I've told this to athletes, and sometimes I even tell it to myself. Sometimes you just got to hit singles and be happy hitting a single. Every day is not going to be a home run, folks. As they say in basketball, there are no 20-point shots. Meaning, if you're playing basketball and your team is losing by 20 points, you can't make all that back with one shot. All right, it doesn't matter how spectacular your move is. The most points you can get off one shot is 3. All right, there's 3-pointers, there's 2-pointers, and there's free throws, which is 1 point. That's it. So if your team's down 20, you ain't making up all 20 with one play. I don't care how spectacular it is. Many people try too hard and too often to try to get the big win, the home run success in everything they do, and they're trying to get it too quickly and they try to get it too often. And one reason for this, that I'll explain the reason in a second, but I'll give you an example from my own life. So right now, by the time you hear this, this will be over, but I decided to take the month of August 2022. I took it off from running. I didn't do any cardio the whole month of August. By the time you hear this, the month of August will be over, and I'll be back doing cardio. So I like to run outside. I like to do 10Ks and stuff like that. I run a couple marathons, half marathons, several 10Ks, etc. But I took the whole month of August off because I need to take at least a month off every year just to rest my legs. That running, especially in Miami humidity, it beats up your legs. And I got 20 years of basketball on my legs before that. Last year I was traveling internationally, so I got a month off kind of naturally because I didn't run while I was traveling. But this year I didn't travel anywhere. I had a child this year, but I knew my child was coming in August, so let me just take this whole month of August off because I know my sleep schedule is going to be off and all kinds of stuff, so it's a perfect time to take time off. Now, here's what I understand. By the time you hear this, I'm already into this process. Then when I come back to running, I know that I'm not going to be running at the same pace that I was running at before I took the time off because I'm not conditioned for it. I got a whole month of not running. I got to build my conditioning back up and get back in shape. So I know the first couple of weeks, maybe even the first, I'll say maybe 2-3 weeks, when I'm getting myself back in shape, I'm not going to be running at the same pace. I might not be able to, I might need to pause sometimes in the middle of my runs and take a little bit of extra time to get my breath because my body's not conditioned for it. So I'm already mentally prepared that this is going to happen. So I'm recording this in the month of August while I'm still on my time off. But by the time you hear this, we're probably into September and I'm back running, but I already have mentally decided, I've already reconciled the fact that I'm not going to be hitting my normal in shape, game shape numbers when I come back, because why should I expect to? I haven't been doing the work, which is all by design. I'm not going to go out there and try to hit a home run the first day back. I'm not capable of it. My body's not ready for it. But as I just stay on my plan and stay on my pattern and do my work over the course of the month of September, by the time we get to October, around Columbus Day, and definitely by the time we get to Halloween, I'm be hitting my numbers like I was always before. And then my next race, which is on Thanksgiving Day, as a matter of fact, this year, I'm running a race down in where is this at? Coral Gables? No, what's the name of that town? Yeah, Coral Gables. Coral Gables, and on Thanksgiving Day, as a matter of fact, that's my next 10K race. I know by the time I get there, I'll be back in my game shape. But I'm not expecting to hit my numbers the first day that I come back. Why? Because I haven't been doing the work. So I'm okay hitting singles for the first couple of weeks. Then I'm going to start hitting doubles. Then I'm going to be hitting triples. Then I'll be hitting home runs. But there's a progression to that. All right, don't try to come out hitting home runs right out the gate all the time, because you're going to disappoint yourself, and you may overexert yourself trying to do something that you are simply not prepared to do yet. And one reason that many of us try to do this, metaphorically speaking, is that we pick up our smartphones and we're looking at what everybody else is doing, or at least what it looks like everybody else is doing. And it looks like everybody else is winning and hitting a home run every 5 minutes when we look at everybody else's life, right? So we feel like we're being left out of the game because everybody else is hitting a home run and we're not. So then we go try to hit a home run ourselves so we can keep up with the Joneses. Social media did not create this phenomenon, so I'm not putting it all on social media, but all social media has exacerbated this phenomenon, and having people think that they're missing out on something. Social media creates FOMO, fear of missing out. You see what everybody else is doing, or at least what it appears that everybody else is doing, because everybody gets to curate their highlight reels and put it on social media. But it appears everybody else is doing, and you feel like you're not doing something because you're not doing what they're doing. And this leads to people trying to hit home runs when what you need to be doing is hitting singles. Actually, what you need to be doing is practicing. If you get a home run, you need to be in practice, not even in the game yet. But this is what happens with a lot of people. We're looking at our phones, seeing everybody else's life, and we're trying to keep up for no reason whatsoever when we're not even getting the whole picture. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is stop trying to hit home runs every day. Remember that long-term success is a combination of simple disciplines applied consistently over an extended period of time. Let me repeat that. Success, long-term success that is a combination of simple disciplines, consistent application, and an extended period of time. So figure out the simple disciplines, apply them on a consistent basis, and do that for a long time, you get success. I just gave you the whole formula for success right there. It is not a home run being hit every single day. Okay, that's not long-term success, not hitting home runs every day. And understand that not every day of your life or business is going to be some amazing, grand success. It's not going to be some big party every day. The daily success for all of us is simply executing our disciplines, which are not spectacular to us nor to the public. They're not even noteworthy, or for the most part, not even noticeable. The daily disciplines you're going to be executing, most people won't even notice that you're executing them. You may not even really recognize them once you get into the routine and the habit. Your job is to simply be fine with that fact, that you have daily disciplines you're going to execute. It is not spectacular. There's nothing noteworthy about it. There's no news crew coming to film you and talk about it because it's not that exciting, and you're okay with that. That's how you create long-term success. It is not by hitting a whole bunch of home runs. Your job is to be completely fine with the fact that it is mundane, it is boring, it is routine, it is tedious, but you are committing and executing on simple daily disciplines. And you continue executing and building them over time. That's your job. That's all you need to do. Think of it again as if you are running a marathon versus running a 100-meter dash. A 100-meter dash is exciting because the race is only 10 seconds. All right, 15 seconds after this gun goes off, everybody knows exactly what happened, and everybody had that one rush of adrenaline of watching the race. A marathon is somewhere between 2 and 4 hours long, depending on how fast you can run. All right, but the marathon is the long-term success. The 100-meter dash is a short-term thing. Most people can pay attention long enough to watch a 100-meter dash. Most people can't run a marathon, metaphorically speaking. I talked about this in both episodes 1457 and episode 1044. Do you have the long-term discipline to run a long race? Most people don't. So where's the opportunity, everybody? I told you this in episode 1025. The opportunity is always in the opposites. Look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite of that. That's where the opportunity is at. Most people don't have the discipline to run the long race. They only focus on the 100-meter dash. And if they don't win the 100-meter dash, they quit. You, on the other hand, are looking at things differently. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is stop trying to hit home runs every day. In his book, Tennis Player, point number 1, his book, Tennis Player Andre Agassi, talked about how his coach told him, stop trying to hit winners every time. Stop trying to force errors on your opponent. Just keep the ball in play. You are more skilled and more talented than them. Eventually, they're going to make a mistake. That's when you pounce. Don't try to force the mistake. Just wait for it to happen. Eventually, it will happen. Same thing with a boxer. You don't try to throw knockout punches every time you swing. You just wait for your opponent to give you an opening. That's when you hit them. Number 2, what this means for you. Sometimes you just need to hit singles and be happy about it. That's okay. As they say in basketball, there are no 20-point shots. You got to win it one possession at a time. You follow my social media story, you see me always posting with the construction jobs. One day at a time. You don't build a whole building in one day. You don't build a 50-story tower in one day. You build it one day at a time. It might take you a year and a half to build it, but if everybody shows up and does their job every day, over time, you get the completed building. That's how things get built. And things of quality take time. All right, they don't happen overnight. You don't microwave success. It got to be built. It got to be baked in the oven. The oven takes longer than a microwave. Point number 3: long-term success is a combination of simple disciplines applied consistently over an extended period of time. It is not a home run being hit every single day, and is not some amazing grand success. The daily success is simply executing your disciplines, which are not spectacular, not even noteworthy, and honestly not even noticeable to a lot of people, maybe not even to you. Your job is to be completely okay with that. You just execute every single day, and you will get to the end. Again, it's like running a marathon versus running a 100-meter dash. Listen to episodes 1457 and episodes 1044. And understand, folks, those simple disciplines, apply the consistent application and the extended period of time. You may need help with those. First of all, you got to know what the disciplines are. How are you going to execute them consistently? Why should you execute them consistently? And how will we know when they're actually producing results? You need measurements for that. You need KPIs for that. We call them key performance indicators. And you need help with what exactly the disciplines are going to be. This is why you need a coach. I've talked about this over and over and over again. I'm going to keep talking about it because so many of you have potential within you that just hasn't been tapped into because you haven't gotten the right insight into how to do it. You're trying to do everything yourself and you can't see yourself in the mirror. This is why you need a coach. There are things that you cannot see that other people can. This is why you need help, folks. There are 8 billion people on the planet. Why would you do everything by yourself? That makes no sense. With all that said, text me to get my daily motivation free of charge at 305-384-6894 and go to workonyourgame.net. Watch my new training. It's a 45-minute training to show you how to get to the next step. I give you 5 steps to get to the next step when it comes to your income and revenue levels without killing yourself in the process, especially those of you who are making money right now, but you feel like you are beating yourself to the pavement in order to do it, just to keep your head above water. I'm going to show you how you can make more money while doing less of that. All right, you want that help? That sounds like you. Go to workonyourgame.net and watch that training and then get in touch with me after that. Work on your game. Dre all